Hi guys. I'm in the closet so no one can hear me, and I'm going to share my insights on Abraham with you. So, if you look up images on Google, you'll see very similar depictions of him as an older man looking up at the sky, so that he comes across as vulnerable, wounded both physically and psychologically. And the Bible emphasizes his loneliness and his uncertainty and pain. And he often finds God's promises to him as troubling, and he questions them. He's full of doubt. His constant movement renders him an outsider. That's why we're referring to him as the Pilgrim. He lives independently of anything resembling a society, and he generally fights or flees the communities he encounters. While his own family drama appears to be staged in a vacuum. So, as the first father of the Jewish people and the first to fulfill a commandment specifically enjoined upon the people of Israel, namely circumcision, Abraham broadly establishes a model of heroism, followed and developed by his descendants. He is often credited as the first monotheist, as he is the first human being to develop a mutual faithfulness with God. So over time, God and Abraham developed the intimacy of close friends or family members more than that of king and servant, the Bible's common God-human metaphor. So they're the God-human metaphor. In his mix of reliance on God and self-reliance, in his being a family man whose choices sometimes alienate him from the family, in his tormented, though confident and resourceful leadership, Abraham embodies the complexity which is characteristic of all biblical heroes. He represents a new beginning for humanity, the creation of a new family, eventually a new nation that lives in relation to God and testifies to God's presence in the world. His loyalty and concern for others, along with his relationship with God, isolate him from the surrounding people, but also empower him to endure that isolation, to have faith in the new society he creates. Just remember that picture of him. Still, wandering for him exacts a similar price: solitude, the dearth of lasting, meaningful human contact. His adventures are not merely episodic, but cumulative, similar to Gilgamesh. For him, life is a pilgrimage whose triumphs can scarcely be enjoyed, whose destination is half mirage, whose mission is constantly implied. He is among the most solitary figures in the Bible. His entire adult life is spent thinking, deciding, acting independently. The Bible constantly emphasizes the distance between him and everyone else. His life is replete with tension. His exchanges with God mingle intimacy, protection, and love together with anxiety and suffering until all the elements appear inseparable. I like that. He experiences the realms of conflict first lived out by the primordial couple, Adam and Eve, and more. That's interesting. For him, too, the land is no longer a garden with food that grows of itself, but a source of famine that he must flee. Beyond the pain of childbirth is the pain of childlessness, and his prayers for an heir are only fulfilled in his old age. So he has a lot of patience. His journey, though, begins with an instruction and elaborate blessing. God cares about Abraham and will take care of him and make him famous, an example to other people. God chose Abraham because of his remarkable loyalty to his father, which will subsequently be transferred to God. Abraham is willing to abandon all ties, confront all unknown future in an unfamiliar land, and accept the perilous risks of a wanderer, all out of trust in paternal authority.